50 went from having every shooter in Queens looking to take him off the board, riding around in bulletproof SUVs, to being one of the biggest moguls currently in TV. Curtis Jackson, who we know as 50 Cent, has one of the rawest rags to riches stories in all of hip-hop. Not only did he come from the trenches of Southside Jamaica, Queens to become one of the best-selling rap artists of all time, he's also been a best-selling author, a top-dollar brand ambassador, a lucrative businessman, and an established TV mogul. When you start to delve into his story though, you start to see all the ways his career could have flamed out along the way, not to mention all the moments where 50 almost lost his life. His mother was a drug dealer in Queens, and she was killed in a brutal way after she was drugged and left to die in her apartment as it slowly filled up with carbon monoxide. From then on, 50 was raised by his grandma and started taking to the streets when he was just a child. By the time he was 12, 50 was already selling crack. After being arrested multiple times at various stints in prison, 50 fell under the wing of Jam Master Jay, the legendary DJ and producer of Run DMC. Jay saw something in 50 and mentored him, teaching him how to count bars and adapt to song structure. 50 realized he could use the same strategies he mastered as a crack pusher to make major waves in the rap game. In 1999, he dropped How to Rob, a single that was instantly controversial because he bragged about jacking specific music stars, name-dropping everyone from Jay-Z to Big Pun to Diddy to Whitney Houston. That song made 50 notorious and even earned a response from Jay-Z, who decided to diss him on It's Hot. But 50's plan for curating non-stop controversy came with serious consequences. On May 24th of 2000, 50 was outside his grandma's house in South Jamaica, Queens. A gunman walked up to 50 while he was in the backseat of his car and shot him 9 times. Miraculously, 50 survived the shooting, spending almost 2 weeks in the hospital and another 6 weeks needing to use a walker. The shooting permanently altered 50's voice. He was shot in the face and the doctors left the bullet fragment in his cheek, giving 50 a permanent slur. After being shot, 50's debut album, Power of the Dollar, was shelved and he was dropped from the label. For most people, this would be rock bottom. Physically fighting for your life while seeing everyone in the world turn their back on you. But not 50. He used it as motivation to come back harder than ever before. When studios in New York refused to work with him, 50 jumped over to Canada to make music there. He systematically flooded the streets with mixtape after mixtape to the point where no one could ignore him. The music industry might have blacklisted 50, but he was determined to make the streets f with him regardless. It got to the point where 50's grind attracted the attention of one of the biggest rappers on the planet, a white boy from Detroit who was not afraid of controversy. Eminem saw 50 making waves and decided to sign him to Shady Records. And with both M and Dre riding shotgun, 50 was anointed the next big thing in music. By the time he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, his debut album in 2003, 50 was considered one of the most hyped up-and-coming artists in years. He sold over 872,000 copies in the first 4 days, and In the Club was renowned as the most listened to single in radio history. But one thing about 50, he's definitely not the type to rest on his laurels. Even though his first album was a groundbreaking success, he wanted more and kept grinding to get it. 9 months after Get Rich dropped, 50 followed it up with G-Unit's debut album, Beg for Mercy. That album was a huge launch pad for all of G-Unit's artists, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, and G-Unit's newest signee, Young Buck, who all ended up going multi-platinum when their albums dropped. G-Unit was pretty much a star factory at this point. If you were in the group, you were destined to be a rap celebrity. G-Unit added The Game to its roster, who at the time was a promising Compton rapper who was super tight with Dr. Dre and Aftermath. The Game's debut album with G-Unit, the documentary, was a major success that launched hit after hit, but unfortunately he fell out with 50 when he refused to get involved with G-Unit's beefs with artists he respected, like Jadakiss and Fat Joe. 50 accused Game of being disloyal and kicked him out of G-Unit. And Game went on a warpath, dissing 50 and G-Unit non-stop to the point where their beast blew up into a shootout outside of Hot 97 offices in New York. 50 knew what he was doing though, and he used all the drama as a way to keep eyes on him. When he dropped his second album, The Massacre, in 2005, it moved 1 million+ units in a week and cemented that 50 was here to stay. That very same year, 50 ended up starring in Get Rich or Die Trying, a feature-length movie based on his life. It was a hit on home video and gave a coveted inroad to Hollywood. In the years since, 50 racked up dozens of roles in movies like Den of Thieves, Southpaw, and Righteous Kill. By 2015, however, 50 was forced to file for bankruptcy. Even though he was once worth over $260 million, his music career had stalled and he was financially spread thin by too many lavish purchases and real estate investments. But the thing about 50, as we've seen time and time again, even in his lowest moments, he always finds a way out. 50 has more than a dozen hustles going on at any given moment, and it's definitely paid off. He's 2 decades deep in the game, and he's still respected as one of the biggest moguls in rap and a force to be reckoned with.